So, ice bath is back in the mix as of today. I've been not quite, obviously, some of you might know I took a bit of a deload last week, meaning I didn't train in the gym for a whole week, which was quite a big deal for me. And I felt good yesterday, and today I'm sleeping in, as in I'm sleeping an extra like 30 minutes to what I'm used to. I'm snoozing my alarm, and I'm just not getting going. And I'm not sure what it is. Hannah says to book a doctor's appointment. I say, buy 4 bags of ice, stick it in the ice bath, and give yourself a bit of a wake up call. Maybe not the right word, but give yourself a bit of a dunk in the ice bath. So, I've been in it a few times over the past few weeks, but obviously with it getting a bit warmer, well, no, it's not that warm still, but it's definitely in the double figures now, most of the day. I think it was about 15 degrees over the weekend, so naturally the ice bath doesn't stay as cool as it would in the winter. So I've just been to Tesco, 4 bags of ice have been purchased. I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to get going. Could use scissors, but looks a bit more dramatic if I open it with a knife, doesn't it? So, bag of ice, £4. £4? £5 for 4 bags of ice. Hey, what a world we live in. Anyway, recently been refilled, so I don't know if you can see in there. You can actually. It looks a lot more inviting when it's clear like this. Obviously, as I go in it numerous times, bits off my feet go in there with me. Probably bits of dead skin, which is a bit grim, but it does get a bit filthy towards the end of the month. I have started refilling it every month now, which is a lot more frequently than what I was doing. But yeah, it looks a lot more inviting when it's like this compared to a misty, greeny, browny colour. Anyway, we've got the temperature here, which is just under, I don't know if you can see this, not that it matters because I'm not going to lie to you, just under 10 degrees. There we go. So we're going to put this ice in now, give it maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, see how much cooler it gets, or if I've just wasted my money. I mean, you'd think it would get cooler, wouldn't you? One that. Let's go with it. Do that. Do that. One mess. There we go. 4 bags of ice. If that temperature doesn't change, I'm going to go back to Tesco. I don't know why I'm shaking this knife at you. I'm going to go back to bloody Tesco and I'm going to ask for a refund. So there we go. 4 bags of ice in the mix. Let's see what this temperature's saying in about 30 minutes. Also, anyone who films stuff, gym, YouTube, this little thing here, tripod, like a plunger type thing, just stuck it to the mirror and you can get so many different angles compared to using a normal tripod. I will put the link in the comment section, but it's a game changer. I can probably take this microphone off my cap now. That's not always the best look, is it, when you've got a mic attached to the peak of your cap? Anyway, so moral of this video is I'm getting annoyed at myself because I'm quite a productive. I'd like to think I'm a very productive person, to be honest. And for me to be snoozing my alarm, for me to be sat here in between check-ins and going on my phone, I'm just thinking, mate, like an hour's passed and you've done barely any work. Getting really frustrated with myself. So I'm not feeling 100% myself, which is unusual. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go to Tesco. What do you do when you feel unproductive? You buy 4 bags of ice, of course you do. Anyway, as you may have known if you follow me on Instagram, normally when I go through kind of ruts like this, honestly, an ice bath is a game changer. So we're going to see if it does anything for me today. Fingers crossed it does, and there's not anything more sinister wrong with me. Anyway, this is irrelevant. What I'm trying to say from this YouTube is, if you're not happy with something, physique, your mindset, your habits on a weekend, whatever it might be, you can't keep complaining if you're not willing to do anything about it. Okay? This is very kind of maybe not extreme, actually it's the opposite of extreme. This is a very kind of timid example, just dunking myself in some cold water. But the same goes that, I could keep complaining about this. Oh, I'm just being so unproductive. Oh, I keep snoozing my alarm. Oh, I've barely got any work done today. Keep doing that for weeks upon weeks. Of course I could. But guess what? Nothing's going to happen. And it's the same with people that, I'm sick of seeing the scales going up. I'm tired of not, going to the gym week in, week out, but my physique just looks the same. You know what you need to do, mate? Something about it. Seems very simple, doesn't it? But if you're not sure what's going wrong, this might be your time to ask for help. Or just ask a friend, ask a family member, like, what's going on? Someone who's a little bit more knowledgeable than you in whatever field you're struggling in. Try it! Okay, so we're back. We've got the swimmies on. And you know for a fact that if this was in the middle of the summer, the top would be off as well, but there's nothing exciting to see at the minute, I'm afraid. Peak bulk, so a little less flattering than peak cut. Anyway, good news is we've managed to get this temperature down. Where are we? 4 degrees, which is quite a difference. And if you're someone who does cold water swimming or exposure to cold water, you know that even a degree is quite a significant difference. So we're going to go in. Oh, that is cold, man. Jesus, that is a big difference. 5 degrees, Christ. Just realised I need a piss. Probably best not doing it here after I've spent 5 quid on ice, or else it'll just go back to 10 degrees. But what I've started doing recently, if you can hear me, I'm going to try and find the mic. Bear with me. Where is it? Probably best in this way again. I've started jet washing the ice bath to clean it. And I used to do it in the back garden to try and conceal it. Now I just do it on the drive next to the car. Most normal people, they probably just get the jet wash out, clean the car, live a normal life. But I've got people walking past giving me some very strange looks when I'm cleaning out the tub. Oh well. Anyway, some cold water ice bath education for you while we're in here. So, obviously cold water exposure. What does it do and how does it affect the body? So, essentially, we have a nervous system, which I'm sure you know, and it is kind of divided into two. Parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic and parasympathetic, essentially like fight or flight. So parasympathetic nervous system is things like when you're relaxing, when you're digesting food, when you're sleeping. Sympathetic is when cortisol hormone is slightly higher, and essentially that's kind of fight mode. So when you're undergoing stress, when you're working out in the gym, this is when you would be in that sympathetic state from a nervous system perspective. And essentially what cold water exposure does is we have a vagus nerve, which you may or may not have heard of. It's kind of top of the thoracic, so the top of your spine, bottom of your brain stem, and it travels all the way down your spine essentially. And it is a very important function of the body and a very important nerve, which essentially regulates everything that we do. Okay, so there's 100 billion nerve cells within the body, and vagus is actually a Latin word I read about recently, which means to wander. So it kind of, travels all through the body, gives signals to different nerve cells across all over the body, and essentially what submersion of the vagus nerve, which is why I often dip my head under, or at least keep the top of my spine submerged, is once you kind of expose this to cold water, it essentially flips into that parasympathetic state and reduces cortisol. So essentially if you have a healthy vagus nerve, it is better for your cognitive function, your creativity, complex decision making, better relationships with people, it reduces stress. The list is ongoing. So this is why I do it so much. And obviously in my job, the whole point of this video is I was going through a bit of a spell where I felt uncreative, unmotivated. So simply just by doing this, the aim is to do 5 minutes. It just allows me to kind of flip a switch almost instantly. So I always say, like, why would you not want to do this? Why would you not want to better yourself? And don't get me wrong, it's hard. Saying that, it's actually not that hard anymore, as you can tell by I'm just sitting here talking to you. But the benefits massively outweigh, you know, it's cold, it's hard, I'm going to get out, I'm going to be shaking. Obviously there are more ways to help keep a healthy vagus nerve, and it's not just cold water exposure, but this is maybe arguably unbiasedly my opinion on the best option. But you can do meditation, breath work, exercise, healthy diet, fresh air, sunlight. There are multiple things that do help keep it healthy, but for me this is one of the best, and this is why I do it consistently. And now I've been talking to you for 5 minutes. The idea was to do 4 minutes, but maybe I should start doing this more often. Speak to a camera, and it doesn't feel like I'm in here for too long. I never really do it for kind of recovery purposes. It's more just to kind of keep me, you know, sharp from a mental standpoint more than anything, to keep me creative. Like, I know for a fact after this now, I'll probably do kind of 2 days worth of work in one. Oh! Bash! I must say, these all-in bodybuilding t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies are my new go-to. If you like kind of represent or Cole Buxton style oversized training tops, these are the ones for you. Just a nice baggy fit, and I think I'm at that point of the build now where all the clothes that I'm wearing are oversized, just because tight clothes don't really complement my physique at the minute, which is fine, it's all part and parcel of the process. But yeah, get on these. Lovely fit. This is a medium, for anyone who's interested. Cold bath done, check-ins done, now time for pre-workout. So, this was just meant to be an ice bath video, but looks like it's turned into a small snippet of what a day in the life would look like for me. Didn't think I'd create one of these ever, but here we are. And maybe this is what it's done to me, the ice bath. Creativity levels. Anyway, just going to tuck into this pre-workout. I've got a call 12 till 1, and then we're going to jump in the car to the gym to train upper. And guess what? I'm going to take you with me. Well, I mentioned that this tripod. Sorry about that. I mentioned this tripod, which, don't get me wrong, is absolutely fantastic. And hopefully you can tell by the angles that I've been filming this YouTube in, or different angles I should say, how much more variety it gives me. Obviously with a tripod, standard 3-legged tripod, oh brilliant. This is always going to be the case, won't it? Sorry love, I didn't see you there. Honestly, this road that we live on is absolute carnage. People just park where they want. Nice one, lad. What are you looking at? What was I saying? Obviously by this angle that you can see, again, another variety of angle, which is so much better for brain stimulation, I'd say. When you're filming in the same space, I keep saying the word angle because I can't think of another word for angle. Then it gets a bit boring, I'd say. Whereas, again, going back to this tripod, no commission by the way on this tripod that I'm trying to sell you, but it is a game changer. Although I don't think I'll need to do a warm-up in the gym as I've nearly just pulled my shoulder out trying to get it up. Well, it wasn't the fact of trying to get it up, it was the fact that once I had it up there, it said that the battery had run out. Luckily recently I've bought some more replaceable batteries, which I didn't even think you could do, but obviously of course you can. So I've replaced the battery, now we've got a full battery ready for the gym. And then there we go, I've ruined the surprise. We're on our way to the gym now. So ice bath was the initial video, but I thought I'd turn this into a bit of a day in the life. So gym, had a call, finished off some check-ins, and now we are off to train upper body, second day post deload, which I'm looking forward to. I've just taken some pump product, and I've actually got some caffeine as well, so double trouble. I don't normally have either, to be honest, but I thought if I'm filming, I need to obviously be looking semi-decent and semi-looking like I lift weights. So if the t-shirt does come off, which reveals the vest underneath, you might get a slight glimpse of a pump. Anyway, out of breath after putting that up, I'm joking. A combination of peak bulk and fighting for your life to try and get a tripod up has done me in. That's cardio done as well for the week. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is here, well, there's nothing I'm trying to say, this is just a bit of day in life and a bit of a ramble from me. Building phase. I am into my last month before the tidy up, which is, I'll tell you what, exciting. Because I've never, obviously like I've mentioned in previous videos, I've never actually done a build longer than 8-9 months, I'd say. So we're approaching the 8 month mark now, which obviously is normally where like this time of the year is normally where I'd start the diet. And then just diet through summer, get in peak condition, 20-week prep essentially, in and out. Whereas this time it's going to be a 6 to 8 week diet, tidy up, reset things, and then go back into a second push-up phase or a building phase or a bulk, whatever you want to call it, which I am excited about, because as we know, within a surplus of calories, this is essentially where training performance is at its best. It's also where you feel strong, it's where you feel energized. That being said, obviously the deload last week was taken because I was low in energy, low in motivation. Recovery was a little bit worse, and again, these are signs that you might need a deload, but I think it's also a sign that I've been pushing this build, not long, but for the right amount of time to now do a bit of a tidy up, because essentially, as you continually push carbohydrates especially, but foods in general, obviously things like your insulin sensitivity slightly worsen. Of course not completely drop off, or else I would be just a big ball of fat, but it's a sign that, obviously as you ingest carbohydrates, insulin is spiked, and therefore, it aids things like recovery, it helps with your performance, energy levels, and so on. But the more and more you do push carbohydrates, and I have been eating quite a lot, but I say quite a lot, there's probably some of you listening now thinking, 600 grams of carbs, that's just my first meal. But for me, that's quite a lot, I'd say. As we eat carbohydrates, insulin is secreted, and insulin is an incredible recovery tool. And because I'm feeling a bit more sore and recovery is taking a little bit longer than usual, this is again a sign that my pancreas isn't firing on all cylinders due to the continual push of foods. So this is typically when you would do a bit of a tidy up phase and reset things from an internal perspective as well as a mental. It is tough shoveling foods continuously, and I know a lot of people are probably listening thinking, tough shoveling in foods? I do that day to day. But genuinely, try and eat every single day, nearly 4,000 calories, and tell me you don't feel fatigued, tell me you don't feel great in energy levels, and your performance in the gym might drop off, everything. There's so many factors into why it's not always the best to be pushing foods continually, and this is why you do need to implement tidy up phases. If you do have a higher insulin secretion, your recovery is going to be a lot better. So at the minute, my insulin probably isn't secreting as much as it could or should, due to the continual asking my body to do more than it really requires for basic living. And then this is obviously something that's part and parcel with bodybuilding. And obviously carbohydrate intake, regular carbohydrate intake at a good amount decreases cortisol levels. So therefore, lower cortisol levels equals better recovery as well. So there is a lot of science behind it, and I know a lot of people make it overcomplicated, and there's a lot of conflicting stuff on Instagram and things nowadays, but you do need to know a little bit of the science, I think. And I think you see a lot of people who are just like, just eat loads, train hard, you'll build muscle. Yes, a lot of people will, and also a lot of people that say that are also running other substances and supplements. So there's always kind of different ways to look at it, but I think going off my ethos, my methodologies, I know it's almost time for a bit of a tidy up. And you know, I'm listening to my body. I'm not listening to the gain gods from above saying you must keep pushing. Like, if I can't physically eat more food, if I can't progress in the gym, but doing the tidy up phase will allow me to do that, of course I'm going to do a tidy up phase. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is that is the next phase within this journey to men's physique next year, and this is needed, and I'm excited to tidy up because I do like doing it. I'd say personally I prefer dieting than building, which I know might shock a lot of people, because a lot of people just think, oh, but bulking you get to eat whatever you want. No one's ever done a bulk properly if that's all you think. So tidy up phase, probably 6 to 8 weeks, cardio back in, which I'm looking forward to. I think that's one of the things that gets to me the most, is feeling unfit. I don't like that, and I have kept somewhat cardio in this time, 1 per week. Steps I've kept above 8,000 this time around, which the build last year, I was like, if I don't move as much, it means I don't have to eat as much, so therefore I'd gain more weight with not eating it too much. But then that kind of backfired on me because I just became very fat and very unfit as well. Also, something to point out is when you are in a building phase, do take care of your heart health, do take care of your respiratory health and your cardiovascular health. These are all very important factors as well that I think a lot of bodybuilders often forget about or just see past, and they think it is all just about muscle growth. That's all well and fine, but when you get to later in your life and your heart packs in or your lungs pack in prematurely, you probably won't be saying that then. Well, you won't be saying it because you'll be dead. So yeah, if you're going to take anything away from this, what seems a very long video in the car, make sure when you are embarking on a muscle building journey or a fat loss journey, you also take care of what is just as, more important, your health, your heart, your lungs, just the function of your organs generally, because without them you ain't going to be building niche. Anyway, after I've had a bit of a race with some geezer, I'm feeling fired up for the gym. I'm going to finish off this monster, and I'll see you in the gym. Back from the gym, killer of a workout. Now time to refuel. Creatine, Bosch. And protein of choice this month, fuck me, is Perform chocolate cream flavour. Give it a 3 out of 10. Not the best, not gonna lie, flavour's not the best that I've had, but it does the job, hits the macros, and that's the main thing. Post-workout cereal, 140 grams of cereal, Rice Krispies and Chocos. Half and half, because last year I was having pure bowls of Chocos and Cocoa Pops, and obviously if you look very carefully at the sugar content on things like this, compared to maybe something like Rice Krispies where there's not as much sugar, you'll see a big difference. And obviously you need to manage how much sugar you are ingesting, but also a lot of people are scared of sugar as well. But you've got to remember that things like sugar within cereal post-workout will help spike insulin levels, which will help replenish glycogen stores. So just obviously be sensible of sugar, but don't think it's the enemy or the devil. Just going to eat this, and then I'll probably wrap this episode up. Hopefully it's been semi-useful. I had a call with a client last night, and we're talking about how there's a difference obviously between mayonnaise and light mayonnaise and things like this, and how things like that can often catch a lot of people out when it comes to thinking you're in a deficit and actually being within a deficit. So it's so important, if you are serious about your results, that you do take time to, track your foods, weigh your foods. I know a lot of people will say that it's obsessive, but the people that say that it's obsessive are also not people who are in shape or happy with their shape, I should say. So I think it's important that, if you do want, and I say this a lot on Instagram all the time, I'm not hiding my face purposely, it's just out of frame. If you do want, world-class results, and you are in a position where you're ready to change and you want to bring a completely different package compared to what you're used to for a normal summer holiday or for a normal year-round physique, then you do have to do, things like this, which if you haven't done things like this before, like weighing your foods, then you might see a different result this time around if you are to start weighing things like this. Makes a big difference. What you don't measure, you can't manage. And if you're not assessing, you're guessing. So normally I will just come home after the gym, which is always helpful, or else I'd be lost. I do come home from the gym and then I partake in what is called post-workout. Cereal is the go-to choice when I'm building. Obviously, simple carbs, fast digesting, easy to get in. Nice, I think, is often something that's looked past when it comes to nutrition. You have to enjoy the foods that you're consuming, or else you're not going to stick to it. And obviously this is the difference with a building phase and a dieting phase. Obviously the carb content for what you get, your bang for your buck, is a lot higher in regards to volume as well. Whereas when you're dieting, you want foods that are very high in satiety index. Therefore, I would typically have oats during my post-workout in a dieting phase, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it's just making simple, smart swaps as you transition through phases to make it sustainable for you. But if you do choose cereal for your post-workout, just like I said before, be mindful of the sugar content. Typically, I sit here and I normally stick YouTube on, or Match of the Day normally. But today, seeing as though I've got you here, I'm just talking out loud. How interesting. Another point to make as well is obviously when you are having pre and post workout, you don't want the fat content to be too high, because fats, out of all three macro, I say three loosely, out of all the macronutrients, fats is one of the macronutrients which takes the longest to digest. So obviously if you're having, a pre-workout meal with quite a high fat content, before the gym and then you're in the gym and you're feeling a little bit, oof, this is, you know, you can feel it going down, you can feel the digestion process. Not ideal when you're in the gym. You know, you want things that are going to be quick and easy to digest, so you've got that fuel ready to perform. Same with post-workout as well. You know, you want to replenish glycogen stores the most efficient way that you can, so things like cereal, etc.